Hello guys, I hope everyone is doing fine and studies are going well. So today I come up with another important topic, and I would say this is the most frequently asked question, specifically by those who are preparing for step 1, step 2 or step 3, and they are in the final 2 or 3 weeks before the exam, or I would say 1.5 months before the exam, and the weeks specifically, those weeks in which people usually take the exams like NBME or UWSA self-assessments, like, and try to evaluate the specific level at which they stand. So like, one question that most frequently come up is specifically how to improve scores in NBMEs and UWSA self-assessments. So I'll be trying to be very brief, and will try to share the detailed analysis how what I was doing that would help me scoring like good scores in your self assessments and NBMEs. And there are a number of strategies, and I'll be sharing one by one in other videos. But one of the most like, I would say, frequent thing that I have used in after every exam was doing a test analysis. So what is test analysis specifically, and what are specifically the ways using which we can do the effective test analysis? So this is the step that usually come up after taking the test and finding out your result, and the phase in which we were reviewing our incorrects or the explanations and everything. Like, we read the correct statement and the reason for that correct statement and the incorrect statements and why they were wrong. So usually what I did when I was preparing my step exams, and specifically in the last phases, I usually I would say most frequently I did this test analysis, and this is basically the way which helped me a lot to improve my scores, and I would say this is the thing that helped me to jump to get 2 point, starting from 2 point to 10 point to 15 to 20 point jumps in my subsequent NBMEs. So how are we going to do this test analysis, effective test analysis? Part 1 specifically is to what we need to do. Like, we did we did a practice test, and suppose we are getting some scores, for example 250. This is the 250 score that we are getting, for example, in any NBME or your self-assessment, and we counted our mistakes. For example, I'm counting my mistakes in block 1. So how I'll be doing effective review and mistake count, that I'll be making a list of incorrects. For example, I'll be giving this heading of block 1 on a separate piece of paper, and then I'll be writing my incorrects. For example, 1, 6, 9, 18, 25, 42. These were my, for example, incorrects. And now what I'll be doing, specifically, it consists of 2 parts. And first part is basically what we are doing. We are listing our incorrects in this way. And then the second part is to write the reason in front why you got this question wrong. For example, looking over to the lower part of this box, this one. See, in block 1, I got this question number 1 wrong because, for example, I might have overlooked some key detail, and that would help me to choose between the correct and incorrect options, and that were too close in the question stem, for example. So this was the reason why I got question number 1 wrong, right? Secondly, I got question number 6 wrong, and I revisited the question and review, and then I find out that this was something that I never seen. I would have if I would have read that before, I would have got that correct, but I have never seen that question. So this is basically why I got that wrong, because I had knowledge gap in that question. And looking over to the question number 9, for example, I was confused between the 2 options due to vague question stem. For example, so let's say there were 2 conditions in the question stem, and the options were, one of them was pneumothorax, and the second one was I would say, let's say, cardiac tamponade, and a number of features are similar. So let's say there were I would say closest options in the question stem, and all the clues were matching to both of the conditions. And first one was, for example, tension pneumothorax, and second one was for let's say cardiac tamponade. Let's say I would say the key details in the question stem that were given were same in both the conditions. So what I'll be trying to do, I'll be trying to look over to the key details in the question stem, and will pay attention to the basic details, and will see what specifically were the key details in the question that were favoring the option of tension pneumothorax while eliminating the option of cardiac tamponade. So I'll be paying attention to those question stems, and that will help us to solve tricky questions in the main exam as well. So for example, I got this moving over to the next question that I got wrong, for example 25. And let's say I forgot the topic. For example, they were asking some treatment, and I forgot the treatment. So I forgot the topic, therefore I got that wrong. And let's say 42 will have the same reason, that I forgot the topic. Question, for example, I got this 25th question wrong because I forgot the topic. And in this way, I did my test analysis. I would say I list all the incorrects, and then I wrote my reasons in front why I got these questions wrong. So this is the part 1 of analysis. This is done right now. And what we are doing, we are not doing like this. We are doing block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, and we are doing like first of all we have to do part 1 only for block 1, and part 2, which is basically the analysis part, only for block 1, and then we will be switching to the block 2 or block 3 or block 4 in this way, right? So coming to the second part, which is the analysis. So how are we doing this analysis thing? That after I have written all the reasons, I'll be looking what's the most common reason in my analysis for incorrects. Like looking at that, for example, in question number 6, I had the knowledge gap. I didn't know the topic. In question number 25, I forgot the topic. Let's see, in question number 42, I also forgot the topic. So forgetting the topic was the most common reason for why I was getting that wrong. So I'll be listing those topics, and I'll be reviewing the topics again and again. So most common factor why I was getting the questions wrong, the most common thing, like I forgot the topic, so I'll be revising things again and again, which is basically the key thing, which is known as the spaced repetition as well, that we have to do again and again from our flashcards, from our notes, in order to have this information fresh in our minds, right? And second thing is, for example, I was confused between the two options due to vague question stems, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll be rereading this question again, and then I'll be trying to figure out what were those key details that would have helped me to differentiate between, for example, the pneumothorax, tension pneumothorax, or cardiac tamponade, and then I'll try to find out that specific option, that specific key detail, and how it is related to the correct answer, and it is not related to the incorrect answer. How is it, for example, I would say how that key detail was ruling out the incorrect answer, and how that key detail was ruling in the correct answer. Like the first thing or the first conclusion that I have drawn after this analysis was to increase my spaced repetition. Because this was the most common reason that actually impeded my 250s. For example, if I have this target of 260 and I got 250, so this was the most common reason why I got less than 10 points than my specified target of 260, right? So first, this is basically the first conclusion that I have drawn, and now I know what was my weakness, and I have to work more on that, right? So secondly, what I'll be doing, we'll again read the whole question stem, and we'll see, for example, in question number 9, that I was confused between two options that were very closest and have the same presentation in the clinical vignette, and because of that I got confused between the two. Then I'll be trying to look at the fine or key details that will help me to determine why it was the whole information was favoring to one option rather than the other, right? And then the question number 6, I had the knowledge gap. I didn't know the topic. I never have heard about that. So I'll see what knowledge gap specifically got me the question wrong. And the question number 1, see, the reason why I got the question number 1 wrong was overlooking some key details, right? See, this is the most common reason most of the aspirants get the question wrong, specifically when the time is near to the real deal, because they are extremely anxious and they are solving their blocks and trying to be fully motivated and fully confident, and due to that they'll be quickly reading all the question stems, all the lines of the question, and maybe overlooking, or maybe I would say ignoring some key details, and therefore they are getting the questions wrong, because we all know that options are too close. Maybe in some I would say test papers, they are too close to each other, and the most of the details in the question stem are favoring all the option, and there is only the single key detail that will specifically holding on to this question answer option B, while making the other ones incorrect, right? So this is the first part, specifically that will help us to improve scores in NBME or your self-assessment. This specific strategy helped me a lot. So I'll be sharing more and more videos how to improve scores. So until then, happy studying. See you again.